Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Linwood Cox Jr. With the Book of Aliel Cast. I'm the founder and CEO of Imago Day Fashion Consultant. Thanks for hanging out with me. Today, I want to talk about a super cool conversation, which is the top 5 greatest hits. Now, men typically have this conversation because they're generally talking with people about, talking with guys about who their favorite basketball players is, who their favorite music artists are. I remember being a kid and used to have those conversations all the time. I think that one of the awesome things you can do when you're having conversations with friends, and then also, if you're on a date, is to talk about like your top 5 places that you want to go in the nation, and your top 5 remote locations that you want to go to and explore that you haven't been to, and even the places that you have and they're just your favorite. So I believe that it's a great way to be able to open up about why you want to go to these places, like these artists, and then be able to express who you truly are as an individual. But today, what I want to talk about is the top 5 greatest hits in which I believe that men are disingenuous, that men are elusive, and men are just overall fake. And they're not being real, they're not honest. And they're always trying to cover up truly who they are. And so the real true expression of who they are never really comes out. Now, the number one, like if the album started, and I don't think that any person would be surprised about the number one. The number one reason why men typically are this way is because they're trying to model themselves after women. It's a popular thing, to have conversations with guys. And I think that there's a 99% fail rate on this, that any guy that you talk to, they're modeling a large portion of who they are based off of what women that they're trying to attract. Now, I don't have a problem with you doing that. I do have a problem with that being the number one. It shouldn't be the number one thing that men consider about themselves, and more importantly about themselves at all. But when you talk to men, you have to realize that what you model, what you say all the time, is what typically you find to be the most important. I just think that it's egregious. I think that there's more to men than just what woman that you're trying to attract, no matter if it's the way that you dress and it's the vocation that you have. Number 2, though, moving into the vocation, I believe that the number 2 reason why men are disingenuous, men are elusive, and men are just overall fake is because they've been taught that their authority figures are the most important. Now, I strongly believe that when it comes to police officers and government, all of these things are put in place. But when you model yourself because you're trying to go out and impress people, right, it's not okay. How is that practically? Practically, that's in the family center first. Men as boys are typically taught to show a fake persona of themselves, and typically that comes from your parents. Your parents teach you that first. They teach you to not be honest, right? And then from there, you just move into school and you move into the working world, and you say that the real me can never really be expressed, right? So you hold that back. Why? Because as a social expectation, you believe that it is an expectation out of you to be that way when it comes to people, and it's just not healthy. Number 3, the band's playing, the song is coming out. You're like, oh man, that number 2 song, that's tough. That's a tough number 2 song. But then number 3, the third reason is I believe it's because of our relationships with other men. There's a huge expectation that, when we have conversations with other men, elusive, right? I said the word elusive, and the reason why I said the word elusive is just because the conversation that you have, you're running from people, right? You're trying to disclude people into actually really knowing who you truly are as individuals. And so, of course, with men, in most cases, your conversations with men are like, hey dude, like, what's going on? Dude, I'm good, and stuff. And you never really get anywhere with those conversations. So your relationships with guys are not really based off of anything, right? They're based off of just like small talk about sports teams, and all those things is good, finding conversations to have about simple stuff. But there's more to you as an individual, right? So it's just something to think about. Truly, I believe more importantly than relationships that you would have with women, right? Because typically speaking, and this is what I believe, you should be only looking for really one woman, but you're going to have tons of friends. You're going to have brothers in different relationships. So you have to ask the question, like, am I really my real self? Am I really do I really have true relationships that I sit down and take time and monetize time around to spend with people? Number 4, and it's the hardest one. So you go down the album and stuff, and the number 4 reason why, and I think it's probably one of the most hurtful reasons why men are disingenuous, elusive, and they're just fake, is because of abuse. I've talked about it before about mental awareness, but traumas that you've gone to, right? There's a huge guard. I mean, if you really dig down deep into a man, most of the abusive experiences that you experienced as a child. And so you've only learned throughout time, since you've been a kid, that, and these are small traumas, these are large traumas. You only learned as a kid to be able to take these traumatic experiences and say, no one's ever going to have this. They're your sad songs. They're the songs that when people are not around you and you are in your house and you are alone, you feel alone. Why? And the only thing that you can do and think about in your head continuously is all the things that you did wrong and how you don't measure up and stuff. And it only puts you into a coffin as truly as amazing of a man that you can be, that you never really get there, when it comes to expressing yourself healthily. Why? Because you could consider yourself a victim. You victimize. You're not willing to go into spaces. You're not willing to have conversations with people. You're not willing to be places in which you're not going to be out of comfort. Why? Because these particular things remind you of how weak you are, and you'll never step in those spaces. You'll never truly be able to grow into the person that you are if you're not willing to deal with the traumas and the traumatic things that you've experienced in your life. Number 5, and this is enough to make any man in this world cry, but I do believe that this is the number 5 reason why that men choose to be elusive, to be fake with people, right? To be disingenuous with who you truly are. It's just because you're afraid that there's nothing there. That after you pull away the girl, you pull away the job, you pull away, the pretentious things, the things that you buy, you pull away the traumatic experiences, you're nothing. You see yourself as worth less. Not to say that you're not worth anything at all, but you just don't create any value to who you are as a person. You've not grown in yourself truly the things. And regardless of how old you get, you still need to be alive. You need to be still happy and enthralled with life, but you've never given any true realization. What are those things? Do I invest in those things? Do I truly do anything that makes me passionate and makes me happy? And life is not about happiness, but at the same time, what puts you on fire, right? What makes you want to go out and get it? And the truth is that, it can't be women, right? It can't be the number 1 reason why you wake up in the morning. It'll never be enough for you, no matter what girl you get. Number 2, it can't be authority figures. It can't be your job. Like, Bank of America doesn't care about you that much. If you didn't know that already, right? They're not going to help you with your self-health. The relationships that you have with and be able to ascertain like what truly are the beautiful relationships that you have. But if you're not able to get over the traumas that you have, right? To have these things to stop lying about you, about who you truly are as an individual, you will always value these things more importantly than the person that you are deep down inside, the person that, says that I'm never good enough. And you truly are, and you truly aren't, right? We can't be. But at the end of the day, though, that's not what it's about. It's not about being more, and it's not about obtaining more. It's about just happily, truly being able to accept that that we can be without. But just because we're without, it doesn't mean that we can't experience a miracle of things in this world that can be just so wonderful. And you can be enthralled with life, and you can have a conviction to say that, hey, this is truly healthily who the individual that I am. And then so the band has played. Boom. And those are my greatest hits. So for you out there, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to check me out on Imago Dei Fashion.